insight to kind of collaborative working. It's something that's I think increasingly on the radar of our graduates, to think about how you build kind of long-term relationships, not always necessarily like with a camera manufacturer. That's quite a cool relationship to build if you can.
So there's a couple of things I think that were really pivotal in my, I guess, habits at uni, which is where you guys are right now, obviously. So one of the things is I would turn up to uni an hour early every time I had to go into uni to go to a coffee shop and work on my business. And I think it meant that I was never late to a lecture or anything, so I think it was super important to build really good relationships with my lecturers. But also it meant that I could work on my business as well. Secondly, I was doing client work whilst at uni, so I was really starting that journey of like trying to get paid for doing what I loved. And honestly, like I shot some very just weird projects, like anything and anything that I could shoot, and yeah, basically get paid for. So, but it was all part of my process. And also, like, you get out what you put in. Here's me studying cinematography, like really making an effort with my lecturers, because those relationships and those habits that you build whilst you're at uni really pay off in the long run. And this is obviously an email from Polar Pro, which is like a filter company. He reached out to me after seeing one of my TikToks, which is really cool. So again, it's just creating opportunities. Yeah. So another thing I wanted to touch on is, you might have any of you heard of an account called UK Film Work? No. Okay. Cool. So UK Film Work is an Instagram account. I honestly get on it. They basically repost freelance jobs. So people like tag in freelance jobs, and then UK Film Work will repost the jobs. And I was on this every day. I was like looking at the stories and just making sure I was applying to everything that was relevant to me. And by the way, if you feel like you get an opportunity that comes your way and you think you're not qualified enough, let me tell you, I was not qualified enough to go for these things. You just have to do it. Because in those situations, like for example, coming here today, public speaking is not exactly the most enjoyable thing for me, but I'm forcing myself to do it because I know that I'm going to grow on the other side. So this is an example, right? So I saw a job come up on UK Film Work, and I saw a job come up on UK Film Work. I messaged the guy and said, hey, I'm free. He told me the details, and I ended up, and actually at the time I was shooting on Blackmagic and GH5, Panasonic, so let's not dive into that too much. But I ended up doing the job, and this became a retainer for me. So it was going to London, shooting like a podcast setup, and I was getting like I started off with 350, and then I basically got it to like 600 a month just shooting this podcast, which at the time I was like, cool, it's consistent money every month. And I built a really good relationship with Emma, who was the podcast host, and yeah, we've got a really good friendship now, and she always sends me stuff through, which is really nice. But the main thing here is you can see Emma basically fed really good feedback to Finn. Finn then messages me and passes on the Eurovision documentary job to me, which is basically Eurovision Song Contest. You might have heard of it. Basically going to it and creating the behind the scenes documentary, 25-minute feature documentary. Honestly, I can tell you now, it was, so yeah, I paid 5k to do this. It should have been like 30k, but at the time I was like, 5k, let's do it. I was shooting every day, editing in the night, and then the final edit had to be done like the day after the final, so it was very stressful. But I did it, and it was an amazing opportunity for me. Here's my edit timeline of the doc, and this is my name in the credits, which was a pretty cool moment. But the reason why I'm bringing it up again is you can see here how I've taken action, I've seen an opportunity, I've gone for it, and then that's paid me back in the future. You never know like what's going to come from someone you meet.
Why low paid or unpaid work sometimes has a place and when it doesn't. Brent's going to talk a wee bit about when it does.
Yeah, so when I joined with Kate and bringing the whole family, so we're both hybrid anyway. So I'm a photographer as well, but also cinematographer, and that's the same for Kate. And when when I set up bringing the whole cinematography angle to the business, I looked at the industry and I said, okay, I can shoot weddings. And when you're starting out, you can shoot them at a much lower price point, and it might be a barn wedding, and I didn't want that. Kate was already established, and I wanted to get to that established point quicker. And the only way to not shoot something lower end and a lower price is you need to know your art really, really well. And so I spent a year filming for free. It cost me a fortune. It was a massive investment. I had to invest in gear and shoot weddings for free. But by shooting them for free, I learned my craft. And I got good enough that I learned all my mistakes. You can make a mistake on a wedding, and the bride and groom can't really get too upset with you. They didn't pay anything for it, but they're grateful that they got something. Learned all the mistakes in that year, and when I was ready at the end of that year, I thought, right, I can start my price point here, and I'm not shooting a barn, I'm shooting one of the royal palaces, or one of the stately homes, or whatever it may be. And I can demand a much higher fee because my work is great, and that's the investment I made, is a whole year of doing that. So that's pretty much unpaid work, but unpaid work can also be supporting a venue, or supporting a business, or supporting a shop that's just launching. There's always something to trade with that. And when you do that, be mindful that it's a two-way process. You're giving something to them, but they're also giving something to you. Be mindful of when they're taking the piss. So don't let necessarily that free work go on for too long when they go, okay, I've been taken advantage of. So there's a balance to get from that. So, but without a doubt, low paid or unpaid is one way to get yourself to a point where you need to get yourself. And you were touching on that yourself.
Make sure you know you're getting out as much as you're putting in, and even if that's portfolio, that's brilliant. We love the Cornwall token system. We've lived down here for 2 years now, and we think it's amazing, which is contras. A lot of Cornish builders, all kinds of people, they do work for each other, no money passes hands. You guys have this amazing ability to create content, which everybody needs. Find people that will help you. Do you need a brand? Do you need some kind of logos creating for you, website, whatever it is? There's other students in this university who can do with your content. So start to think about a token system. Just make sure that everybody's winning. And if you're not, walk away. Building your reputation, and Lucy's touched on this, we cannot say enough how important this is. The service element of being a creative in the industry is your consistency. Oh my God, your reliability. There's a lot of flaky creatives, a lot. Manners. We saw someone recently, someone in the industry, who's been in the industry a long time, really let himself down with a lack of manners. And you can, it's a bit like you're only as good as your last job. You're only as good as your last behaviour, and it really matters. And a lack of ego. The industry is full of ego. I can tell you now, having been in it for some time, it's usually based on anxiety and a lack of confidence.
The ego is a lack of confidence.
People who know they're good at what they do shouldn't need an ego. So just always be aware of it when you see it and are confronted with it, and please don't have one. It's awful. Expect to need other income streams at the beginning. Now, Lucy made a really interesting point earlier about the fact that she began to turn work down. So what we'd say is you need to earn money, and if you need to earn money whilst you're establishing yourself, don't take full-time work, whether it's in a restaurant or in a post-production studio. Give yourself the freedom to have the time to create. Build your portfolio and stay and stay making and doing, because otherwise you'll get into this trap when you rely on your income, you're too tired to shoot, and you may just walk away from the industry. The importance of community and networking, I think Lucy did this point brilliantly earlier. The David Tennant's wedding, all those 3 weddings that you saw, they did not contact me through the website. David Tennant looking for a wedding photographer. It was through somebody in the industry. It was actually the person who made his dress, not his dress, he did wear a kilt, but who made George's dress. And David did not want a wedding photographer, adamantly, because, and I asked him, why are you so anti having a wedding photographer? And then he didn't really say anything, which is quite David. And I said, okay, is it because your only experience of photography is either the production photography when he's in the studio in character or paparazzi? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, there is this whole other thing called wedding photography, and let me show you a couple of weddings. And, you know, and all he cared about was trust. And he said, you know, I need to trust you. And I said, that's fine. And we did they actually got married in secret, and then the next night was New Year's Eve, and his party had every actor you could possibly see, Cumberbatch, all of them. And he opened the evening by saying, this is Kate, she's our photographer, and you could almost feel a intake of breath in the room. And he said, and we trust her, so relax and party. So all of those weddings came through somebody saying to somebody, you know, she's nice. And actually, it wasn't even about, I don't think, the standard of my work. I was really new in the industry, too new probably, and it was about trust and behaviour.
Networking is also about going to, you know, we hate networking and there's the like business networking in London. You've got 30 seconds to pitch your thing, and it's terrible. And networking down in Cornwall is actually pretty cool. There's swim networks and surf networks and a gin tasting network. Just think about when you go to a network, it's not, you're actually not networking with the people. So if this was a network, I'm not networking with you. I'm actually just getting to know you, because it's you and the people you know that if